Hi, my name's Dr Ian Chapman. I am Executive Lecturer in Contemporary Popular Music at the University of Otago. One of the most important things I can do as a lecturer outside the lecture theatre is to actually be seen to be walking the walk and talking the talk. So I perform myself fairly regularly. I have a performance alter ego called Dr Glam that I perform as. So rather than sort of sitting behind the safety of the lectern in a lecture theatre, I'd far rather students realise that I can actually get on the stage and do what they are looking to do as well. It kind of it develops some sort of mutual respect, I think. So my daily routine consists of a mix of formal lectures in lecture theatres and tutorials with smaller groups of students in various papers, and it usually involves sitting in a small room with a loud rock band when I take the rock band tutorials. So I teach across a range of university music papers, from music history, songwriting, industry papers, but I also teach performance, which is why my title is Executive Lecturer. That means I teach on the purely academic papers as well as the performance rock papers, so I get a good balance and I like that. So I use a variety of support materials, AV, etc., overhead transparencies, because I am a performer in delivering my lectures, in that I'm quite animated. When I'm giving a lecture, I think of it as a performance. I'm aware that when you're at the front of the lecture room or the lecture theatre, it's almost like stage. It's almost like being on a stage. Music has always been it for me right from school. I was never in any doubt that music was going to be my career. And I started off in the 80s as a professional drummer and had an enjoyable career working a lot with people like Billy T. James and so forth, the people you might not necessarily think of as musicians primarily, but they were actually, like Billy T. James, a brilliant comedian, but also a fantastic musician in his own right. And so I was lucky enough to work with him. But I got to the point where I wanted to do more than just play rhythm, even though I enjoyed it. I wanted to be able to play melodies and play another instrument. So I came to Otago University and I did a degree in performance classical guitar, or I majored in performance classical guitar. But I'd never really been a classical animal, to be honest. I enjoyed immersing myself in classical music for a few years to get the degree, and I learned a lot, but it was really always popular music, rock music for me. At that stage in New Zealand, you could not get any qualification outside classical. However, in the year 2000, Otago University started up its what is colloquially called the rock course, and that took off very quickly, and they got lots and lots of students applying to come and study rock music at Otago. And in 2002, the university music department asked me if I would consider coming back to teach as an assistant lecturer on this new rock degree course, which was proving so popular, on the condition that I had to then get my master's and also my PhD, which I did over the course of several sweat-inducing years. And so I found I didn't set out to be a music academic as such. I very much loved my job here at the university, but it wasn't what I set out to be. I set out to be a performing musician, and I've kind of moved into this because it's a new area. Popular music as a scholarly discipline is still fairly new, and I love being involved in it. It's like being on the crest of a wave. Sometimes people have a less than high opinion of academics because they think that we spend all day talking about concepts without actually being able to do them. You might have heard the expression, those who can't do, teach. And particularly here in the music department anyway, all of my colleagues are pretty good practitioners in their own right who've somehow found their way into academia. Most of us also have quite a authentic desire to help other musicians, aspiring musicians, young musicians actually achieve their goals, And because we have been through that whole thing ourselves, we know what some of the pitfalls are. We can actually train them to avoid some of the obvious rip-offs and pitfalls in a music career, because a music career is a very hard career. You've got to be really focused. You've got to have talent first and foremost, but talent is absolutely not the whole picture. There's so many other aspects come into it, and we can help students with that process. Talent is the foundation, if you like, but you absolutely have to have stickability, because you will get, there's no question, you'll get knockbacks along the way. You have to be able to stick at it and be disciplined. You also have to have a fairly thick skin, because you'll have heard the expression, the tall poppy syndrome, that does exist. If you stick your head up high, there are people that would like to chop it off. So you have to have a thick skin. You have to develop an absolute belief in yourself and in what you do, but without getting to the point of arrogance. There's a difference between believing in what you do and believing in your talent and being arrogant, and you have to have self-belief for sure. Some people, and I can include myself in this, back in my younger days, you have this absolute desire to be on the stage performing, but it's also the thing you fear most in the world, putting yourself out on that stage, and stage fright, and your throat dries up, and if you're a guitarist, your fingers start shaking. You have to find ways to combat that performance and being on the stage. It's almost a theatre skill rather than a music skill, and that's a large part of what I do, is trying to teach musicians, great, you can already play your instrument, but can you perform? There are perks, one of which is you get to travel a fair bit. Like, I am expected as part of my job to do research, so I present papers at conferences all over the world, at least a couple each year. In 3 weeks' time I'm off to London to present a conference paper on David Bowie at a conference, which I'm looking forward very much to. David Bowie is my specialist research area, if you like. So that is a perk. Perhaps you get to see a bit of the world, you get to meet a lot of interesting people. Challenges for the job. Pause. I can't think of too many challenges. It's a job that I love, and most aspects of it are fantastic. One thing perhaps I guess bugs me slightly is that people think when you're a music lecturer, because the students are here at university for 2 13-week semesters each year, people assume that you only work as a lecturer, you only work for 26 weeks of the year. And that's so not the case, because the time when the students are not here, we are expected to be writing books, writing journal articles, presenting papers, all that the other aspects, the research aspects of our job. And although that's an aspect of the job that I do very much enjoy, to be honest, it's the contact with the students that gives me the biggest buzz. This is my dream job. There's no doubt about that. I loved being a professional musician, and I enjoyed touring the country with a variety of different acts. I didn't enjoy the up and down nature of the income. As a freelance musician, one year your income might be down here, the next it's up here, then you're down here again. So I quite freely admit that I enjoy the regular salary of being a music lecturer, but it goes far beyond that. I really enjoy working with students who are really motivated, are very talented, and have a real dream and think they can really make a difference. I get a buzz from that. And so for that reason, dealing with those sort of people day in, day out, that creative spark that exists in a music school at a university is just something that you can't put a dollar price on. And so yeah, I just think I have a dream job.